Happy New Year to the fans of the Weigh-In. This is the Weigh-In podcast in the new year by Benoit Chestnut and Sebastian Romero. So to kick this off for this week's episode, we're going to get off by telling you my partner is getting acclimated with the new year. And then after he's acclimated, he will be also back on these episodes. So for this, let's get this started. Going in the boxing world, the first thing we've been hearing is Jake Paul versus Conor McGregor. Weigh yourself in on this one and how you feel about it. Well, I'll tell you what I feel. Conor McGregor is a boxer and also a UFC star, an icon. I say he's a boxer because he boxed Floyd Money Mayweather, and he did well with that boxing fight. You look at Jake Paul. Jake Paul's a boxer, fresh off of beating Mike Tyson, which many people felt he shouldn't even have done the fight. So now we're sitting here and we're saying, wow, now he's going to line up Conor McGregor. But I'm looking, Jake, that's not another boxer. You say you want to be a world championship boxer, but now all of a sudden you're fighting another person that is not ranked, not a boxer. There's a lot of guys that are world champs and boxers that came out and said to Jake they want to fight. And then all of a sudden we hear something about this Conor McGregor fight for Jake. What is going on? Look at how Tyson Fury lost again. That's something we definitely could bring into this episode this week because Tyson Fury lost again. You look at a lot of changes in that boxing we got coming up. Lamont Roach versus Tank Davis. That's going to be a really good, interesting fight. You know, a lot of guys step up to the plate saying they can beat Tank, but is Lamont the guy? Well, I guess we will find out, but more than less, the other news about this is that Jake Paul, Conor McGregor. So I think Conor McGregor is, he's a stand-up guy. He's been boxing before, and he's been in the UFC, but you have to look at this boxing fight. It's just going to be the fist. It's a boxing fight. So you look at Jake's probably got the edge, but does Conor McGregor's fight with Floyd Money Mayweather give him experience that Jake might not have? Conor McGregor boxed a world champ. One of the greatest boxers, Floyd Money Mayweather. Floyd made money. Floyd was a good boxer. He was undefeated. And Conor McGregor got in the ring with him. And the opening start of this was first it was Conor McGregor supposed to be Logan Paul possibly. And then all of a sudden we're getting reports of Conor McGregor versus Jake. So now it's like, well, if Conor McGregor gets in the ring with Jake, who stands the chance to win? I'm going to get Jake the edge because he's been a boxer, but does that mean that this is over? Does that mean that Conor McGregor is going to lose this fight? No, it does not. Anybody can go in and you never know. All it takes is one shot and somebody's on the floor, but you have to say Jake has got a strong chin. So you look at Jake knows what he's doing when it comes to a fight. So one of the things you could say is, does Jake have this fight already? I don't think Jake has this fight already. It's not there. You have to train for it. You have to prepare for it. Amongst other on this, a lot of things going on in the boxing world, and that is one of them. I'm more relying on, Tank Davis lining himself up another fight and possibly talking about retirement. That's a good fight. The Lamont Roach and Tank, whenever Tank fights, it's always a great fight to see, a lot of things going on. Recently, one of the close to our podcast, Angelino Cordoba had a fight. Angelino went out there and he had a fight. He won his fight. Good fight for Angelino. I think he's in there, but hey, we're ready to see that WBC title challenge they owe him. We want to get out here and see Angelino do what Angelino's going to do. Angelino's a great boxer, and I think he's ready to be a world champ. He's ready to be where he has gone on a journey that many have brought and taught him certain things that he didn't learn from the last journey. I think Angelino is well on. You hear it first on the way, and Angelino's going to be a world champ one day. We hope he gets there. He will get there. This is what we want. This is the weigh-in where we weigh in on our stuff. So with that being said, we want Angelino to win. That's the best thing we could say for Angelino. We want Angelino to become a world champ. There are a lot of things, Recently we saw Daniel Gonzalez, Dangerous Daniel. He had a fight. He won again. So Dangerous Daniel's still undefeated, and we're waiting for, which is going to be big for us, the weigh-in field. It's going to be big. Sebastian Caracas is going to have his American debut, and that's supposed to be coming soon. We just can't wait to see when that's announced, because that'll be very well. The guys that we were training in the gym with they're all, well, I mean, for the past last year and up to this year, they're all professional now. So it's like, to see some of these guys get out there and do the thing that they are given to do, the God-given thing to do, is go in there and box. That's the best thing we like to see, because these are the guys that we learned from them. They taught us some stuff. This is in the gym. You learn this stuff like that. And I think that those are the guys that are building the new boxing of today. And that's one thing that we look at when it comes to boxing. It's the new boxing of today and tomorrow. And that's why, in this 2025, we really did one thing we wanted to do. So you, as the fans, we providing to you as we came on to bring this New Year episode. We're working on the record schedule, possibly getting you guests. We're looking to basically have it filled, packed, so every episode we can have a guest for you. And the happenings of the company, that is one thing that is going on. We're working on that record schedule, and on this new year, I'm holding myself on this new year to make sure that I get out there and record, because I will not have the same problems as last year. I went on, spoke once about it, that I wasn't doing enough and I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do, and we were still not getting episodes out. But with that being said, that has changed. This year, I'm going to do what I have to do, and that is putting out episodes for you guys, so that I could make sure that if I do an episode a week, for instance, if I was doing an episode a week, we should have 52 episodes up by the end of the year. But we're doing 2 episodes. I'm going to do 2 episodes a week with the wrestling content and with the boxing content. And that's where I'm going to give you guys, the viewers, everything you want to know. So as I give you that little quick update while almost giving you the boxing, we're going to get back into it. So with that being said, I believe Jake Paul is going to be able to do what he has to do. He's got Conor McGregor. I think Tank Davis is going to beat Lamont Roach. I'm waiting to see some more fights to come out. Really good stuff. To see, there was some report that Ryan Garcia is trying to get back in the ring. That'll be something that's real interesting, is to see Ryan Garcia get back in the ring. How does he come back? Is it a better version of himself, or is it not the best version of himself? It's things like that we want to see. That's the thing. When you come back from just anything, being time away, not whether it be an injury, whether it be anything you come back from, it's always about coming back as the better version of yourself. That's the one thing everybody wants to do. I always wanted to do it when I had injuries in college wrestling. I always wanted to come back as a better version of myself, and not everybody gets to do that. But for Ryan Garcia, it was not an injury. It was some, time away for things that happened. But at this point, Ryan Garcia, I hope he comes back as a better version of himself. I hope he brings back King Rai that we were seeing before, that we were able to see when he beat Oscar Duarte, that we were able to see during most of those fights where he was doing very well. And that's something we would like to see, the same way we would like to see Saul Canelo Alvarez go up against David Benavidez, because we've been wanting and asking Saul Canelo Alvarez to fight David Benavidez. Is Canelo running, or is he ready for Benavidez? You got to ask yourself, is it Canelo running, or is it the matchup can't happen? And it's like, every time we see the reports, it's like something's off on the money or off on the negotiation. It just doesn't always end the way we want it to. But I think that one of the first things going here is that would be a marquee matchup. I think David Benavidez is a good boxer. He stands a chance to get in there with the ring of Canelo. I think it's going to be interesting. I think it's one of those matchups where you say, why you're not setting it up? Why? Let's get it done. Let's get it done. David Benavidez, Canelo, let's get it done. The same way a lot of people wonder why Floyd Money Mayweather never boxed Jake Paul. Listen, I don't think Jake's ready for all that heat. Floyd Money Mayweather is still undefeated and still the greatest boxer to get in that ring. Many might not agree with me. You might say they were better boxers, but Floyd Money Mayweather was undefeated. He was able to do so. And at this point, if he can't line up Jake Paul, I think it's Jake not wanting him because Jake knows he can't take the heat. Jake can't take Floyd Money Mayweather. He just can't do it. Look at all the guys you're boxing. A lot of the guys Jake is boxing. Give me a guy that has been a ranked opponent right out there and was somebody that could have challenged Jake for a serious time. You got to get somebody who's a WBC ranked boxer. I see, all these guys. You got Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson, he's a great boxer. He's a good guy, but Mike Tyson's retired. What good is Mike Tyson going to do you? He's a retired boxer, Jake. And you're going after and you're saying these guys don't want it. Well, it's there for you. The boxers are calling you out now. Where are you, Jake? Line it up. You got to take the right boxers. No more of these guys that we've never even heard of the name. Line up those marquee fights. The same way Ryan Garcia lined up Devin Haney, you need to line yourself up somebody who's ranked and somebody who's got a belt so you can stop all the trash talking and prove your point, Jake. You can prove why they say the problem child will become a world champ. This is the things that we have to look at for ourselves, really have to talk to ourselves about is Jake ready to go across that stuff? Because you look at Jake and why hasn't he done this? Why hasn't he done that? There's a reason Jake hasn't done this and that because Jake is not ready. Otherwise, he would have been boxer after boxer after boxer, ranked boxer, ranked boxer, ranked boxer, and then we wouldn't have to say nothing like that no more. We would say, hey, Jake Paul has done it. Jake Paul has beat this person. Jake Paul has beat that boxer, this boxer, this. But Jake Paul's not lining him up. It's like every time we see the guy, we say, well, wait a minute. He's fighting a guy from the Bare Knuckle League? Come on. That's not a ranked boxer. He's from Bare Knuckle. That's not even the same thing. Jake's got to line up the guys that can be beat, the guys that he can win against, the ranked boxers. I think any boxer can be beat at any time because it all depends on about one shot it takes. You stun a guy once and you finish. That's it. He's beat. And I think Jake can stun a guy. Jake can finish a guy. But if you're going to start fighting guys from Bare Knuckle League and guys who have been retired, you're not showing the commission you want to be a better boxer or that you want to be a world champion. You're showing the commission that you're still not taking this seriously because you're not fighting boxers consistently. Think about it. He says, I fought a boxer. Okay, when you fought one boxer, I think his name was Andre. When you fought Andre, right? Right after he did not fight another boxer. Okay, you have to line up all those guys, boxer after boxer, consistently. So I don't want to see you fight two boxers and then it's a bare knuckle guy. No, you got to get in there and keep every guy must be a boxer, has got to be ranked, has been boxing with a good record, even if it's 12-2 or 12-14. Line up that guy because he's a boxer. He's been boxing. Not somebody that you say, oh, he's from Bare Knuckle. He was in the Bare Knuckle League. He's good. He's in the Bare Knuckle. Gets in there and embarrasses his own self. Come on, Jake. You could do way better than that. And then now you're lining up Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor was a UFC icon. And did that UFC Ultimate Fighting Championship. Where does that say boxing? That does not say World Boxing Commission. Come on, Jake. You gotta line up a boxer, not this guy, not Conor McGregor. McGregor's he's not ranked. How many belts, how many world titles has he had? 0 in boxing. UFC, he's had all the belts, but in boxing, how many world titles? None. This is a guy that went in against Mayweather and was fatigued during the fight. He couldn't even beat Mayweather. And you could understand that the argument could go, well, Mayweather is a great boxer. Mayweather's top on top, but come on. No excuses. Jake needs to get in there against a guy who is a boxer. And if you're not going to do that, then what are you doing with yourself? What are you doing? What are you doing? Are we wasting our effort on the Paul train? Well, we will never know. But if he keeps going with these guys who are not ranked boxers, that's it. But as for our guy, a boxer. I'm not going to say an actual boxer because Tank Davis is a boxer. I'm not going to say Tank Davis is not a boxer. Tank Davis is a boxer. But I say actual because he's not like Jake, who Jake says he's a boxer. Jake is a boxer, but you're not consistently fighting boxers. So you're participating in the sport. Now, somebody who participates in a sport, yeah, you could say I'm a wrestler, but you're participating in wrestling. And somebody could say I'm a baseball player, but you're participating in baseball. But somebody who is a baseball player might say, hey, I play baseball. I'm serious about baseball. I play baseball all the time. This isn't a sport I'm just trying to participate in. This is a sport I'm trying to learn and get good at. And Jake, I think, is participating in boxing at this point. He's a boxer, but he's participating in boxing. Tank Davis is a boxer, and I would like to see Tank Davis go out there and put a show against Lamont Roach. And I think Lamont Roach has got to do something better than the last guy and try to go out there and do what he has to do. Because Tank Davis's last fight, the guy said all this stuff about, I'm going to win, I'm going to beat Tank, I can do this. But you see, when you watch that fight, he was standing in front of him and saying, I'm trying to conserve my energy. No, don't conserve your energy. Go out there, win 6, 7, 8 rounds, and then there's no more rounds left for Tank to win. Then you could win on the scorecard. But no, he's sitting there and he's like, oh, I got to conserve energy. There's not a time to be conserving energy in a fight like that. You gotta go. When you're fighting a guy like Tank, don't try to conserve energy. You leave everything you have in the ring. You leave it all in the ring. That's the thing about it. What we're learning with a lot of these young boxers, our friends that are boxers, there's so many doubters saying, you can't do this, you can't do that. Well, I'm sorry. You're going to learn about us Jersey boys. We are going to do it. The Jersey boys are going to prove you wrong. They're going to show how Sebastian Caracas is going to be a great boxer, how Dangerous Daniel Gonzalez is going to be a great boxer. You're going to take those names and now you're going to say, these are guys that we have heard of. These are guys we have heard of. These are not guys that we doubted, because when you doubt them, they step up to the plate and they show you why you're wrong. And that's what it's about in this boxing world. You got to show them why you're wrong. And that is why every boxer that comes up against Tank does not get to do that, to say, hey, I'm going to show you why you're wrong. Well, it's hard to go and say, I'm going to show you why you're wrong against a guy like Tank Davis. Tank Davis is a great boxer, and it's hard to go in there and say you're going to show him you're wrong. To be able to do something like that, you've got to be at a pinnacle level where you're comfortable enough to go in there and take a lot of shots. And you got to be able to move in a way that you're not going to get hit as much, because if Tank starts wailing on you and getting the shots in left, right with the hooks, unfortunately, you might not last that fight. Isaac Cruz was able to go through that fight and last, but that doesn't mean everybody's got a strong enough chin to take those left and right hits from Tank Davis. And that's why I'm saying you've got to be a highly classman boxer to get in there and beat Tank. And the question here is, what guy out there can beat Tank? Because every guy that they say can do it doesn't do it. So we've got to say to ourselves, what guy can get in there, stop Tank Davis, and show us that they are the next best boxer? That is one thing that we're going to be able to do here. And if many of you would know that this is it. If you want to beat Tank, you've got to show that you're the guy. You've got to be the guy to beat Tank. You can't just say, I'm going to beat Tank, and then don't beat him. Come on, you gotta be the guy to beat Tank. And it's not too many that are even able to say that. And I say not too many because nobody's beat him. You gotta be able to beat him. And we're going to give another shout out to one of our other friends that is a boxer, Jean-Pierre Paul, doing his thing out there boxing. It is just one of the things that we look at ourselves and say, he's another name that you will hear of. These are the guys that are going to turn the sport, because these are guys that are learning. These are guys that are going to get up there, because when they get doubted, they prove you wrong. And that's what it's about, proving those doubters wrong. And that goes with any sport, every sport, that underdog baseball team, that underdog football team, or that wrestling match where they say this person is a 3-time state qualifier. It doesn't matter what they are. What it matters is about the time you've got to prove them wrong. There are a lot of things like that we will detail in when it comes to wrestling. We'll detail in that all on our wrestling episode. But today we're going to focus in on that boxing. You have to prove your doubters wrong. And that goes to any sport, and that's neutral. And that's why we can talk most about that neutral, because it's about the fact that you can do what you do by just literally saying it doesn't matter if this guy's ranked or this guy's 6-0. It doesn't matter. You have a match. All you got to do is you got to knock him out. It's easier said than done, but you go in there and you win round after round and you show him how you can go toe to toe with him. You to toe that ring. At this point, you've put yourself in the best position to win that fight, to prove your doubters wrong, to prove them wrong. And that's what we're getting at here. In this new year, I challenge all of you, the boxers of the boxers, to prove all your doubters wrong. Better yourself. Make this a year where chapter after chapter gets better, where you want to be reading from chapter 1, when you want to be better than chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4. And as for the weigh-in, we're getting an episode done right now, so we're trying to make our chapters even better. And that's the one thing we want to be here and talk about, is being better. If you don't learn from each match, if you don't learn from each fight, what are you doing? You don't have to learn in the moment. You can learn after the fight, or during film, or during the fight, or before the fight. You can learn and see your opponent do something and you say, hey, oh, that's what he does. You're learning. But you have to, in some way, shape, or form, learn, because the guys that don't get learned, they get beat twice. And I'm going to tell you why they get beat twice. They get beat once when they make the mistake, and the second time when they make the second mistake, because they didn't learn from the first mistake. That's you get beat twice. You got to learn from every mistake you do, and that's why we get across this. You have to learn what you're doing. If you don't learn from what you're doing, you're going to get beat twice. And that's something you don't want to get beat twice. You don't want to say, hey, I got beat twice. Well, you got beat twice for one of two reasons. You got beat twice because of this. You know, you didn't see that when you dropped your guard, he gave you a hook and you didn't understand that, and then you dropped your guard again. If you keep dropping your guard, you're gonna get, first of all, you're gonna probably drop, and then you're probably gonna get knocked out if you keep doing that. You've got to understand from your mistake. So if you drop your guard, you gotta say, no, I gotta keep my hands up. I gotta keep my hands where they're supposed to be. You know, if I throw left, right, jab, and I drop my guard, no, don't do that. Throw left, right, jab, keep your hands up. It's little things like that. It's the little things that make the difference between certain matchups. Like, if I go in and I box a guy, I box this guy, I do the best thing I can do, but I make the mistake and I drop my guard early. I throw 2 right hooks and I drop my guard and he stuns me with an uppercut. If I go the next round and I throw those 2 same hooks and he stuns me again, who's making the same mistake? It's me. I have to learn round after round. If I'm doing something, I can't keep making the same mistake. Can't go back in there and get hit again and again and again. No, that's not what you're supposed to do. You got to learn from your mistakes. And that's the new thing. I challenge all of you in this 2025, no matter what it is. It doesn't even have to be sports. Learn from your mistakes. Learn from others. Because some of your best teachers are the ones you can look at. So if you watch somebody box, or you watch somebody, you're able to learn a lot. And when you analyze the boxing and the way they move, you learn a lot from being able to do that. It's like simply when you watch a highlight tape of a maybe football cornerback and somebody says it's just a highlight. No, you can learn how that guy is sitting in his coverages, how that guy is looking at the quarterback, how he makes movements towards the ball, how he moves. It's basically almost similar to making animation. You're creating every movement from hands, legs, fingers. You look at somebody, a guy just like that. It is important. You say, well, maybe if this guy got a fingertip on it, well, maybe it's because he put himself in the right position to get that fingertip on the ball. But it's the same thing for boxing. Maybe that guy put himself at enough distance to be able to throw his jab so the other guy can't even get close if you have the reach. You know, it's maybe a tall guy you had to punch down, and that's why the fight went a certain way. It's just stuff like that where I say that this is the difference for certain fights. But for today, this is what I give you. I'm going to try to give you guys longer episodes, but this is what I have for you today. Thank you for watching the weigh-in. Tune in to Thursday's episode. The next one, we're going to get on it. The Tuesday, Thursday record schedule. This is the weigh-in out.